Okay, so I made a video on how to make transaction templates, and if you haven't seen that, you might want to go back and watch it because I probably will be using transaction templates in this listing video. So I need to make my listing documents for my new listing on Blueberry, and I've already entered it as an incomplete listing partially, so I have it online right here. I like to do that first. And so I'm just going to click the button right there, Transaction Desk, that's going to take me over to Transaction Desk. But before I do that, I want to show you something first. If you go to the Home button, and then you find your external links, and you click Transaction Desk. This is if you haven't put it in the MLS and you're just starting from fresh. You just hit Create Transaction right here, and you would call it Blueberry, or whatever you want to call it. And then I use my transaction templates right here, and I'm going to use listing documents. The only difference that's going to make is it's going to pull in my listing documents for me, so I don't have to go get them and pull them in. And I have pre-typed a lot of information on my listing templates that I want to use. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Another thing to save you time is to import data. And so if I import data under Real List, then I choose what county the house is on, Cleveland County. And then I just type in the county assessor number, which is right here on this form, R0053200. I got that off of the county assessor website, and said to add me as the selling agent and create. Well, I guess since we're already here, we'll just do it this way actually, because it wouldn't make sense to go back and do it. But the alternate way was I could have hit that Transaction Desk button and it would have taken me right to this page, and it would have filled in from the MLS for me. So you can do that if you want to. And sometimes I do that if I'm working on something that's not a county that I have access to, like Garvin or McLean. It's kind of more difficult. So anyway, here we are on this. So you just go ahead and fill in the information that's not filled in. The property type is residential. You don't have to have everything filled in here because this is just your listing documents. And so your documents don't say things like the school district and stuff like that. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put my legal description in. And since I already have it in the MLS, I'm going to just copy and paste it here. Creekwood Estates, Lot 2, Block 7. Where do we get that information? We get it from the county assessor. Creekwood Estates, Lot 2, Block 7. Right there. Okay, click Next. The list date's going to be today. And I'm going to expire this one at the end of the year just because we got a few months and this is an awesome hot property and I plan to sell it faster than speed lightning. So there's nothing else here I need to fill out, so click Next. And then it already added me as the selling agent and Metro Brokers as the listing company. So I'm going to click Next. Oh, sorry, click Previous. I'm on contacts now, so I need to add my contacts name. Okay, and I'm going to come back and put the email in here so I don't have it on the video, but you'll want to go ahead and put the email on here, and yes, you want to add it to your address book. Click Save. I have another seller because they're married. Create a new transaction contact. Seller. The reason that you're going to want that email is if you're going to use Authentisign. If you're not going to use Authentisign, you probably don't need it. Okay, that's all the contacts, so we're going to click Next. And my forms have pre-filled because I chose to use them from the transaction template right from the beginning. So you can see I have disclosure of broker service, buyer broker agreement, because I like my clients to sign a buyer broker agreement with me when they list their home so that I can go ahead and tell them that they're going to buy with me. They might not know that, but unfortunately this person already had a place to go. Actually, they did buy the lot for me. They just built it themselves. So I'm going to delete that form. They are not exempt from disclosure, so I'm going to delete that form. I don't need it. The house was built in 1979, so I don't need lead-based paint. I'm going to delete that. The only reason all these are here is because I have them in my templates. I have the estimated net to seller, the exclusive right to sell listing agreement, disclosure of broker services, and residential property condition disclosure. That's all I need. Okay, so let's say that I needed something else. I would click, or if you didn't use transaction templates, then you would click the add form right here. And then you would go to your listing forms or whatever forms you needed. And then I would look for the form that I need. And I don't really need anything, but let's go ahead and add the seller's counteroffer because we're going to get an offer and we might be using that. So we'll just use that. Scroll back up to the top, hit add, and now I have a seller's counteroffer there as well. So it is pre-filling this information and my information and everything on all these forms for me. So we're going to click next. And I used this at the old template and so, or the old transaction desk, and so I used to use internet verifications and square footage. That's why that's there. Yours won't be there, but I added these in under templates a long time ago. So I don't worry about them, they're just still there. Click done. And now we are in the transaction dashboard for Blueberry. And over here is the tabs for the entire transaction desk. So you can see this is transaction desk, AuthentiSign. There's different things here. This is kind of confusing because it seems like this is what you should be clicking on to manage this transaction, but it's not. To manage this transaction, you click on this green button over here. That takes you to the transaction wizard. I really don't like that layout because this is tabs for the entire transaction desk. That just makes it big or small. I like to keep it small because it's just kind of in the way. Although it might keep you from clicking here accidentally if you could see the words and realize you were clicking out. But this is what you need to be looking at right here. This is your transaction wizard. So now what we want to do is we just want to go onto our forms, which is right here, and click on each one and fill it out. So we're going to do disclosure of broker services, and mine's already filled out, so I put listing brokerage agreement because I did that in the transaction templates. And I'm going to fill out the dates, which if you're using AuthentiSign, you don't really have to because it will sign the date for you. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to click File and Save. And now I'm going to click Transaction Forms, and I'm just going to change to the next one. I don't need to fill out the seller counteroffer right now. I'm going to click on Estimated Net to Seller. Now remember, I'm using transaction templates that's already filled out, and I just filled mine out with the base amount of 200,000, but I can type over any of this. So today is March 24th, so I'm just going to give them a net estimate as if we were closing at the end of April. So I don't worry about the fact that April is a Sunday. Right, this is just an estimate. So I just put 30 at the end of next month. And they're listing for $239. And I need to find out what their taxes are. I've already looked that up. So I'm going to look back at my listing. Their taxes are $24.51. So I'm going to say 4 months worth of taxes, and I like to do the math right here. $24.51 divided by 12. That's about $200 a month. You can calculate it out. $24.51 divided by 12 equals $204.25. Times 4 months equals $817. The commission I've charged on this is 6%, and if you have put the sales price right here, then it is calculating it for you. And I want to show you something here. I'm checking conventional, and I'm also checking the cash. If you don't check it, it won't calculate what you fill in here. So you can check them all if you want. And the reason I'm doing that is because I like to show them on one aisle how it's going to look if they just got a full price offer. But I like to also show them over here what the most common offers are. So I put in 0 in closing costs, but I like to kind of show them what they can kind of expect on the other side. Doesn't mean they're going to accept it, but it kind of helps them to wrap their mind around what's kind of common in the industry. So I just fill in an average amount. So I put in closing fee 100, attorney fee 150, abstracting 550, UCC 100, recording fees 50, mortgage and tax 100, doc steps 150. That is price dependent, so I'm going to change that. That's 240 times 150. It's because it's 240,000 times 150 per thousand, so that's 360. So I'm going to type over that. Mortgage inspection 100, treatment repairs. I have these little zeros here so that I can remember to show them that these are items that sellers or buyers will ask them to negotiate on. Then homeowners association dues, if they have dues, that will go here. This gives them their estimated closing cost. It pre-fills the sales price. Later, I'll put in their mortgage amounts, and we can give them a better calculation, but I didn't want to put that on the video. This subtracts it for them, and it says if they didn't have a mortgage, they would net this much money if they got a full price offer. And then over here, I like to put in the sales price again and put in kind of the high side of what they can expect people to ask for. And we'll just retype all that right here. You'll just do whatever is kind of standard according to the sales price that you're using. See how this is cash and it's grayed out, so I'm going to go ahead and just add it to the next line so that it'll calculate out correctly. And then I have kind of some high-end treatment and repairs, a home warranty, closing cost, and then it kind of gives them two numbers to look at. So they have two different thought processes in their head. I'm going to fill out my name. Okay, then I'm going to hit File and Save. Make sure you save every one of these or nothing is saved. Hit Transaction Desk, Transaction Forms up here, and we're going to go to the next one. Exclusive right to sell. And if you're lucky, it will have filled in a lot of information for you. There's plenty that you're going to have to fill in. Okay, it's got the whole address and 239. Oops. It shows that we're listing it today, that it expires at the end of the year. I'm not checking any of these boxes because I'm giving them full service. They're not waiving any duties with me. You fill in your compensation, all the little stuff that you fill in here. I still don't know yet if it's subject to HOA, so we'll have to fill that out manually. I have a little thing that I put on my transaction templates that says that if they release the listing prior to the end of what I've negotiated, that they owe me a marketing fee. Sometimes I leave that on there and sometimes I don't. This is not one that I'm going to put that on. It's not going to be an issue, but you may choose to just leave it on all the time because truthfully you never know when things are going to be issues. But and you'll fill in the seller's address and stuff. Okay, we're going to do File, Save, Save. And hit Transaction Forms. And then we're going to look at the next one. We won't be able to fill this out online because it's the residential property condition disclosure and the seller needs to fill it out. But we will do that in person. File, save, save. Just get in the habit of doing that every time. There's nothing worse than making a whole contract and finding out you didn't save it. I believe that's all of our transaction forms: disclosure, broker service, estimated net, listing, residential property. Okay, so once you want to get out of here, you're going to click File, Exit. And then you've made your contract. So if you wanted to go into AuthentiSign and have them sign it online, you would press this button right here. We'll do that on another video. My clients are probably going to sign this in person, plus I'm not completely done yet. You also can go ahead and print these from here, right here. These little menus right here, you can print somewhere. Oh, you can download them, print them and stuff. So if you want to print them out and take your client to sign in person, you can do that. So that's how you create your documents in Transaction Desk.